From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening in all evenings LA with a lot of huge news tonight about your stocks as they try to rally up with good corporate earnings but bad labor numbers starting the day. Your bonds, with the bond market continuing to surge up, the housing market continuing to crash, the auto industry down, and of course the big update tonight about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. In tonight's recording for the Choice of Santa Monica, California, good evening for June 9th, 2022. Lots of major developing details. As a fourth stimulus check is landed in every U.S. state, in tonight's recording, we're going to go over those incredible checks. What do? You stay with me over this 1 hour broadcast. I'm going to show you how to get those huge checks. Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, become a member. Step 3, get that incredible newsletter over this broadcast. In this big broadcast, we're going to go over the state of this economy tonight with a lot of major developing details. Of course, the question mark is recession, when and where. We have new data tonight. Then the housing market crash, how bad will it be? It's getting underway. And then the issue about the stock market crash. It's a day in which we started with a lot of bad economic data. The bad economic data was also what we thought about no less than a few weeks ago. And that is why you have to get a fourth stimulus check in every U.S. state. You have to get those checks because with a dropping economy and a looming recession, the situation will be far worse in the months to come. I'll be going over all that data tonight on the shores of Santa Monica, California. But what did we learn this week? And what did we learn tonight? And what will we learn this weekend? Is there a deal on gasoline? Is there not? Then what's going on with the housing market? Why the housing market is not the dog of the economy, the auto sales is not either. We also have a big problem tonight, and that is labor. Labor indicated first on this channel last weekend from Elon Musk and reported by you, the viewers of the channel. He said that the major layoffs on those big box retailers where you live, well, they'll get out of tonight and what it means for you. But step 1 is to subscribe to this channel. Step 2 is to become a member. And step 3, stay over this 1 hour broadcast because we have big checks for you. Stay in a U.S. state. Single, married, without children, with children. Step 1, get that big money. And step 2, get more of the money. And step 3, get more of it on thereafter. It's a great recording. I'm excited to hear. It's a lot of major breaking news tonight for June 9, 2022. It's evenings, LA, and it starts right now. And good evening, everybody. It's a big night across the board with big money at issue. And this recording, we're going to go over those four stimulus checks later in this recording. Big checks, whether you're married, single, without children or not, on benefits or not. That's coming up later in this recording. We'll go over the recession. We'll be going over the housing market crash of 22, the stock market crash at issue, and then labor numbers have started today. A lot of news and a lot of data to go over, and we're going to start with it all right now. We're going to start first, of course, with the developing details tonight on the labor front. The labor front first showed problems no less than a month ago, but then amplified itself over the weekend when Elon Musk said, big labor problems in the United States. What did we learn today? Well, the labor numbers came in and they were horrific. Big news for the Build Back Better Act that will give you additional checks on top of those big checks already in your state. When you look at stimulus, the number one most important economic data point we could ever use is not recession, not inflation, not stagflation, jobs. It is unemployment, lack of jobs. And that number that came in this morning was horrifically bad. When the pandemic started in March of 2020, we had 200,000 new jobless claims per week, and then we shot up to 1 million. Over the last month, I said we cannot have this number at 200,000 because it's too high. It has to come lower. It came to about 180 when we came out of pandemic. But 2 weeks ago, it hit at 200,000. Last week, 200,000. And going into tonight's recording, I had asked you over the last few weeks, do you see people being laid off? Do you see people losing their jobs? Do you see less people in the workforce? And viewers said yes. And you were basically predicting that it would be a higher number for those unemployments released today. And you were right. Wall Street thought the same. They thought the numbers of unemployment claims for the week ending June 4th, released this morning, would come in at about 210,000, 10,000 higher. Well, Both of you had it right. In fact, it was actually worse. Came in at 230,000 new jobless claims for the week of June 4th. Horrifically bad. This was much worse than you, I, and even Wall Street thought. And this is the highest number we've seen in this channel since January 15th, 2022. How bad is this? This means that people are losing their jobs. It means that the economic data that Wall Street analysts were using the last few weeks have been wrong, and it means you were right. Let's take it back a notch. Back a month ago, Walmart reported corporate earnings said there are too many employees on the floor in the store. We don't need that many employees. That was not layoff language, but it basically suggested that maybe layoffs would be coming. Then I said to you, we have not heard official announcements of layoffs or hiring freezes. But do you, as the viewer in the live chat, have you seen less employees at the checkout stand? And viewers said yes. Go in the live chat right now. Let's ask the question again. Do you see less or more employees at the checkout in the big box retail this week? If the answer is yes, less, then write less. If it's more, then say more. Overwhelming viewers have said less or zero. That's how bad it's been. Then I've asked viewers, and let's get to the question again right now. Have you seen in the last 2 weeks your friends, families, or neighbors saying people are being laid off? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, right on the live chat. Viewers, again, overwhelmingly have been saying that. But here is where it gets fascinating. Corporate America has not announced major layoffs, has not announced major hiring freezes on a formal basis. But on an informal basis, you as the eyes and ears of this channel have seen it. And then came last Saturday. Last Saturday, we had the first major corporation announcing layoffs of a big magnitude, and the word that you really only hear when you're in a recession, hiring freeze. In fact, that's 2 words. Hiring freeze. And who had those comments? They came from Elon Musk. Elon Musk said that the labor market is really weakening very dramatically, that the economy is shrinking dramatically, and I need to lay off about 10% of my employees right away. And he did. He also said, I'm announcing a major hiring freeze. Hiring freeze is the language you see in a recession, and that is why that was a shocker. Now, since that comment from Elon Musk last Saturday, have we seen anything like it? One viewer in the live chat on Morning's Countdown this morning said her son showed up at Sam's Club and learned that 300 of them had been laid off. Now, was that a corporate announcement? No, it was just a regional, local announcement. And this morning, Jim Cramer, appearing on Broadcast News, said, in speaking to the tech giants in Silicon Valley this week, they say they're doing major layoffs. Ironically, it hasn't been publicly announced. So this is where it gets interesting. There is major layoffs for this economy, and that drop of that labor is a major issue when you're talking about fourth stimulus, because guess what? Fourth stimulus will not have unemployment stimulus like you saw under first or second. Let's recap. If you have a job and you're about to be laid off, you're not going to have this type of stimulus you had from first or second stimulus. It doesn't exist anymore. PUA was for people who are independent contractors when they're laid off under the first and second stimulus package. 1099s, Uber, Lyft drivers, for example, doesn't exist anymore. So if you're an independent contractor you're about to be laid off tonight, there is no unemployment stimulus for you. Then, if you are a UI worker, like a Macy's department store worker laid off, you were not going to get extended weeks called PEUC, because that doesn't exist anymore either. Also not existing anymore is that add-on. $600 a week, FPUC, or $400 a week, or LWA, whatever you call it, whatever time of the year we were talking about it. That doesn't exist anymore. And that is why it's so imperative to get that fourth stimulus check in every U.S. state, because that fourth stimulus check in every U.S. state is huge. And it's a lot more than many of the unemployment stimuluses. When I first got unemployment stimulus for the people in this channel, it was upwards of $15,000 to $20,000. But guess what? The great news tonight is that the fourth stimulus check I have for you in every U.S. state is a lot more than it. It's upwards of $80,000. And it's for you even if you don't work. Even if you're not an employee, if you're a retiree, I got this check for you late in this recording. If you're on SSI, if you're SSDI, if you're a renter, if you're a homeowner, if you have children, if you don't have children, if you're young, if you're old, if you're married, if you're single, I got this for you later in this recording. Where did it come from? It came from executive order from Joseph Biden, and I found for viewers of this channel back in the month of March. Now, tonight we learn a little bit more about the importance of getting these checks right now rather than later. And that importance comes from a new report. That new report polled hundreds of CFOs in the U.S. economy. CFOs are chief financial officers of companies, and they were asked a series of questions. The overwhelming consensus was basically the following. One, they do not believe what Jay Powell's saying. They don't think he's going to get inflation down. Two, they say we're going into recession next year. Three, they think the economy's shrinking dramatically. Four, they think you need to really save up on cash. Takeaway is that everything I've been saying on this channel for a while is now impacting corporate America. They now confirm the same thing. The Build Back Better Act is a wonderful piece of legislation currently in the Senate that will be passed by the Senate that has checks in there and add-ons of checks that will give you additional checks on top of the 4 stimulus checks later in this recording. But I need to make it very clear to you, you need to get the checks I have for you right now, because in the next 90 days from now, the economy state will be far worse than it is tonight. And you may not be able to weather this economy for the next 90 days if it gets that bad. The Build Back Better Act may not get you the actual checks in your hand in the 90 days. And that is why you have to pounce tonight. You have to pounce tonight by going into this video right now and subscribing. Subscribing and becoming a member. Step 2, staying late in this video and getting these 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. Here tonight is a series of factors we now know will be happening in the next 90 days. And that is why I don't want you to wait on getting these 4 stimulus checks in the next 90 days. Here are the data points that are brand new tonight across the board. Number 1, the consensus of analysts, both me and corporate analysts as well, now believe that Jay Powell will be doing interest rate spikes over the next FOMC meetings. I'm predicting a half basis point, half and quarter. That'll cost it more for you to live if you have anything that is interest-based, debt-based across the board. That's not good news. Number 2, we have no inherent deal yet for oil. That's coming up later in this recording. And that lack of inherent deal for oil means that the gasoline prices you're paying at the pump will go even higher. We're just starting there. Then the price of consumer goods like milk, bread, that supply chain disruption has not been solved and does not look like it's going to get solved. And that is why you cannot wait with all these problems at hand, whether it's gasoline, whether it's housing, whether it's auto, whether it's a storm out to sea that I'm about to get to in a second. There's a lot of data points tonight that are all bad. The takeaway for these bad data points is there's no solution set up to fix them in the next 90 days. That is why you got to get that 4 stimulus check in every U.S. state. It's coming up later in this recording. Let's go now understanding that the Build Back Better Act would would actually potentially have you wait and weather a storm that may not be too severe to survive. Let's go over the provisions of the Build Back Better Act and those checks that would come thereafter. The news of those checks is the following. There's 3 add-ons on 3 and 3 clusters. The add-ons on the 3 clusters, what are going to survive the negotiations currently between Joe Manchin and Chuck Schumer? Well, $25,000 of free home health care, $25,000 for the purchase of your first home, that would survive. $250 billion of free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities may survive, based upon that Janet Yellen report featured last night on this channel. And then $2,000 a month for 6 months, $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for 6 months, that would likely survive. But that's not a lot of money. $6,000, $7,000 is not a lot of money. That is why you got to get these checks late in this recording. In that third cluster, we have checks for seniors, free internet for all, farmers checks, independent contractors checks, dental, vision, and hearing. May survive if Joe Manchin likes that new report from Janet Yellen featured last night on this channel. In that second cluster, the paid leave is not going to survive, and the home repairs is already a standalone check. And then in that first cluster, we have the hazard pay, the $4,000 elder care, the $4,000 of care for young children, the nutrition, the first time, the home repairs, and also the electric car. That's all great news. But in an economy in which the analysts tonight and those CFOs all say the same thing, cash is king, where is the cash? In that Build Back Better Act, you saw a lot of clusters of a lot of complicated and varying items. And the difference between the Build Back Better Act and what I have for you tonight is that the 4 stimulus checks now in every U.S. state is cash. They're cash, and cash is king. That's why you can't wait to get these 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. We're going over them later in tonight's recording. Now, the other data point that's important to understand when considering the Build Back Better Act is the bad economic data at issue. And is there a lot of bad economic data tonight? There is. Whether we're looking at the unemployment situation, whether we're looking at the other statements that came out from the ECB, There's a lot of data points tonight. Let's go over each of them starting right now. First, of course, we'll go over that horrible labor report that came out this morning. 230,000 new unemployment claims for the week ending June 4th. Horrible number. Means a lot of people are losing their jobs and they're not getting rehired. Number two, when you look at the continuing unemployment claims, they're at 1.35 million people. That's too high. These are numbers we haven't seen since January 15th of 2022. These are absolutely horrific numbers. Then when you look at fintech is small businesses like small business financial companies like Chime and Cash App. Well, we have people that are running some of those companies say they're concerned about the valuations, like John Collinshurst, who's head of Stripes, is worried if his company could justify its current $95 billion valuation based upon the current economic environment. Currently, I don't know the answer, he says, in a new comment released, obtained by LALATE News tonight. The data point does not end there yet. Tonight, we learned from those CFOs in the CFO Council, the risk of this U.S. economy hurting you dramatically in the next 90 days is very much there. You can't risk it, folks. You really can't. 23% of the CFOs said they believe the Federal Reserve is a major risk factor. They don't like what Jay Powell's doing. They also said 54% of them do not have confidence in Jay Powell. Just 54%? Then 77% said the recession will absolutely happen starting next year. Wow. Everything I've been reporting on this channel for the last few months is now being repeated by other analysts left and right. The Dow is expected to fall below 30,000 as the stock market crash of 2022 continues, says 77% of the CFOs. And then Mohammed Ryan says take some chips off the table and put stuff in the cash. Warn yourself and brace yourself, as the head of JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, said in comments last week. We'll be going over those data points in a second. Here's what you need to know is that this economy is getting really bad very quickly. And this is where I want to be very, very blunt with you and help you understand where we are, where we're going, and where that money is. There's the three things I do on this channel. I show you where money is, where we're going, and where that and where this economy is heading. First, where is this economy right tonight? The economy tonight is unstable. The labor market is very unstable. I truly believe in my heart of heart is that the vast majority of people who are employed think that the situation for their employment is like how it was in February. It's not. I think they think that if they have a job, if they get laid off, they're not worried. There'll be another job, and when they go apply for the job, they can ask for a salary raise. No, I think it's much more severe, and I don't think they understand the severity of the situation. Number two, when you look at the analysts looking at this market, there's a lot of analysts that are giving out wrong data. They're saying everything is wonderful. They're basing everything based on February data. It's June, and the situation tonight for June 9th is not good. Number three, you have a lot of analysts who are basically trying to pigeonhole some parts of this economy and say that part of the economy is bad, but the rest is good. Tonight, I'm having problems finding what part of this economy is good. Let's go over the parts that are bad, and it's not just housing. That has been sort of the narrative that some people want to say. Housing is really bad and everything else is good. No. I understand housing is down 17% year to date, and the mortgage rates fell in the month of May to its lowest level seen in 22 years. We got that data point last night. But housing is not the only industry that is really plummeting. We also have travel and leisure that is based upon the same benchmark, which is basically people who want to spend 200% more on what they bought just in the month of February. Also happening is the same situation for auto. Auto's down 24% year to date because the auto salesmen are trying to get a $5,000 profit per car that they just got $2,000 profit on in February. It's not working. Meantime, when we look at the situation for gasoline, the situation for gasoline is out of control. Tonight's numbers for gasoline are the worst I've ever reported in the history of the channel. Every night, they're worse than the night before. Let me make this very clear. You may have thought that the run-up of gasoline and its prices when Putin invaded Ukraine in March was the end of the story. No. You may have thought it was high for Memorial Day weekend. No, it wasn't the end of the story. The number tonight is higher than Memorial Day weekend. It's higher than when Putin invaded. When Putin invaded, the international price of Brent crude was 110. Then Memorial Day weekend, it went to about 118. Tonight is about 121. If you're looking at the graphic right there, it says 185. That is potentially where the price of gasoline could go. What does it mean for what you're paying at the pump? Let's go over the analysis in the United States. Tonight, for the very first time in this recordings of this channel, I can say that I believe the the domestic unleaded average to be released by AAA will be about $5 by tonight or tomorrow. It was $4.90 in the last 24 hours. It was just $4.30 last week. Yes, a 70% rise up. This is all big problems. So for anyone to say it's a housing market crash of 2022, that is really the dog of the market, no, it's not true. For anyone to say it's just a stock market crash of the valuation of equities at 20% down, it is not just true. For anyone who says it's not a full-blown problem until the recession hits next year, also untrue. There's a lot of problems, and they're happening right now, and that is why cash is king. What we know tonight, we know. But what's happening next year, we absolutely have no idea. We do not know for 2023 if the party in control of the Congress will be doing a recession stimulus package of 2023. We just don't know. Now, tonight, we may have more indication of which party will be in control of that Congress. A new report released tonight shows that there's a very, very similar track going on with Joe Biden that went on with Donald Trump. During the second year of Donald Trump's term in office, his approval ratings were about the same month after month, about 40%, 39%. And then in the midterm elections of that year, because it's the second year of a president's term, he lost the Congress. The Congress became Democrat. Tonight, the numbers for Joe Biden are much the same. 39, 40, 41, month after month since the month of February, all the way up to the present. Even delivering the wonderful group that I adore, BTS, the White House has not helped the president's approval ratings. The numbers for the White House tonight are not good. So if you believe that history repeats itself, the midterm elections later this year will result in Congress next year being Republican. And with that, the question mark is, will the Republicans give you a recession stimulus package? I don't know the answer. I'm not going to guess the answer. But what I got to tell you is that you need money right now, because the downward spiral of this economy tonight, before we even get into the recession, is going to be very, very tough on everyone. And the people it's going to hurt the most are people who are low-income individuals, or people who are impacted by inflation, or people who lose their jobs, or people who really were on the wrong side of the equation. What is the wrong side of the equation? Tonight, I want to deliver something new about this analysis. And the analysis is people who just misanalyze the situation, people who misapproach the situation, or people who really just don't size up the situation correctly and prepare accordingly. What am I referring to? The importance of understanding where an economy goes on this channel is because I'm trying to have you prepare your money. I'm trying to have you prepare your money to understand where this economy is going to be tomorrow, 90 days from now, and next year. Here is what my track record is to date. My track record so far to date on this channel is the following. In spring of last year, I said we're going into 8% inflation in December 2021, and it's not going to be temporary, transitory. I was the only person who reported that at the time, with the exception of Jeremy Siegel at the Wharton School of Business, who put a little bit higher than me. Wall Street saying 2 to 3% and temporary. They were wrong, and it came in at 8%. Now, if you are prepared according to that 8% inflation ahead of time, you would be in a better position. Then, in spring of this year, I said we're going to stay at 8% inflation. It's not going to come down. I also said Jay Powell's tools by raising interest rates are not going to work because they do not fix the problem for inflation. The cause of inflation is not interest rates. The cause of inflation is not consumer spending. The cause of inflation is supply chain disruption. It's totally different than consumer spending. Then, I said in the last few weeks that the labor numbers were wrong, that people are losing their jobs, and that the other data points were wrong. Anyone that said the dog of the economy is just housing and everything else is right, wrong. That there's no labor problem, wrong. That the GDP is going to shrink dramatically. That people said the GDP is going to be strong this year, wrong. And I said, this is really what's going to hit really hard if you're on the wrong side of the equation. Of course, there's all that other stuff, like people saying, buy on the dip, the stock market is leveled out and we're going to come back up. Wrong and wrong. Here's where we are tonight. Anyone that really bought into the wrong narrative is in a bad situation tonight. The situation you want to be in tonight is very, very simple. 1, cash is king. 2, cash is king. And 3, cash is king. You want to hoard every single pot of cash you can put in your wallet and put it away and save it. And then when there's another pot of cash tomorrow, get it as well. It's what we talk about a lot on this channel. It's coming up later in this recording. It's what Nisi has learned to do. It's what Mark, Johnny, Lorraine, Margaret, what do? They watch the recordings, and I say every night, go back and get another pot of money. Get another $800, get another $900, because it adds up. Because it adds up, and the money is available there now. Moreover, let's make it very clear. It's June. Not a lot of people have problems with big utility bills now. They just don't have them. You don't have heating oil bills. You don't have the winter month big oil bills or utility bills. You don't have those big bills now. So you have less competition to get these sums of money. That is why you get the money right now. You get more of the money. You save the money. A wonderful report released yesterday said that nearly 70% of Americans who got stimulus from the first and second stimulus package still have some of it saved up. That is good news. That's what you want to do as well. In the second half of this video, we're going to go over these stimulus checks. Now that you understand the importance of getting the stimulus checks, now you understand the importance of not waiting for Build Back Better Act, which is going to happen, not waiting for it, but getting these checks tonight. Then you're ready to get the checks. And step 1 is to subscribe. Step 2 is to go to that little bell at the front of the channel, hit the bell, and make sure it's set to all notifications. And step 3 is to become a member. The link is under the video. Join this channel and become a member to get those incredible checks in every U.S. state. But we got some other stuff to go over right before we go those incredible checks. And what is that data tonight? The data tonight is a situation unraveling about oil. Oil and human rights is a really difficult subject matter, and last night I touched on it, but I'm not going to touch on the human rights equation tonight. I'm just going to go over the calculation of the situation. The calculation of the situation tonight is very, very straightforward. No deal, prices are going higher. It's about as simple as that. The White House, the Western allies have known that they have needed to get a gasoline deal on the books since October 2021. When 100,000 Russian troops were at the Ukrainian border right before Halloween of last year, I said, I hope the White House has a deal to get some oil released, because if they do not, we're going to have a major problem next year. Guess what happened at the time? At the time, the White House had Joe Biden reach out to Janet Yellen, his Treasury Secretary, and said, Janet, get ready for a contingency plan if we got to get some oil from somewhere else. Did she get a contingency plan? No. When her undersecretaries at Treasury asked repeatedly, where is your contingency plan lined up by broadcast news in March, they did not have an answer. In March, I told you that gasoline is unsustainable at its current levels in March. In May, I said we're going to go into recession if it continues into May. Now we're heading into July, and the levels are higher than they were before. Translation 1, we're going into recession. Translation number 2, the situation could be far worse than just recession. Tonight, there's new data coming out of England, which, of course, uses the same sort of benchmarks that we're using for gasoline, that says a family that's trying to fill up the family van in England now has to pay $150 to fill up the pump for the van. Where's the numbers tonight? Let me go over the data points tonight. Tonight, the international price of Brent crude is the highest levels ever reported on this channel. Nearly 121 international Brent crude. This is out of control. It was nearly 117 over the last 2 weeks, and it's now jumped up another $4. It could go to 185. Number 2, the price you're paying at the pump, the U.S. domestic average, that's average, I know a lot of you pay more, has surged from $4.40 earlier this week to now $5 almost at the time of tonight's recording. That's the average. It could go to $10 a gallon. Does the White House have a deal lined up with any country, or is the White House isolating countries tonight? Tonight, the White House is actually isolating countries. Oh, Lord. The White House is in Los Angeles with Joe Biden with the Conference of Americas, a very nice party. And guess who's not invited? Sirloin, yeah, he's not invited. But the number biggest producer of gasoline of the Americas, Venezuela, not invited. Could you just have invited him and just gave him the bad seat at the banquet table? I mean, just invited the guy and give him the bad banquet seat. Well, guess what? That guy is so upset that he went to have a party with Turkey. If they're having a party with Turkey, I don't mean the meal, I mean the country. If the head of Venezuela is having a party with Turkey and inviting the head of the foreign ministry of Russia to the party, you're not looking good on getting your oil deal. The White House had the opportunity to get oil from Venezuela. That's gone. You can kiss that one goodbye. Brazil, luckily not opportunity, gone as well. OPEC Plus, no, I don't think that's going to happen either, because the White House really sort of poo-pooed OPEC Plus last week when they announced they're actually increasing production of gasoline to help us. So what does the White House have left in the equation? Iran, which is a nuclear proliferation problem, and they try to get that deal done, the JCPOA, over the last few months. No deal. So that doesn't seem like it's happening. What else is left? Saudi Arabia. So what is Joe Biden doing? He is going to Saudi Arabia, and the official comment from the White House is that he's just going to Saudi Arabia. Well, there's two parts to the equation. Either he's going for golf, and that's not going to look good. Inside joke there. Or he's going for gasoline, and that's also not going to look good. That's not an inside joke. That's pretty obvious. Gasoline, golf, Saudi Arabia, it's sort of the same equation. And Joe Biden's going to make a deal there? Ouch. Yeah. So, translation back to the non-human rights part of the equation, Joe Biden has no deal. Western allies have no deal. There's no gas replacement for the missing 2.5 million barrels a day that's removed from the pipeline from Iran, from Vladimir Putin. And with no solution, guess what? You're paying a lot more in a couple more weeks. You're going to continue to pay more because none of these countries have found a solution. You think they would find a solution? Give the guy from Venezuela the worst table in the banquet table and get him drunk in the corner and then, send him home with a nice, mixtape of Nancy Pelosi's best karaoke recordings. Send him a care basket of, San Francisco hairstylists, mousse and shampoo and hair setting. Send him something and then get some oil from him. I mean, this is how you do things. And I know someone's going to be in the live chat says, LA, you would be the best president. You would invite the world's worst leaders to get the gasoline and then give them a gift basket of San Francisco hairstyling stuff to get us cheaper oil. God bless you, LA. I mean, if we're going to get oil, we got to get oil. I mean, if we're going to get oil, we get the oil. And I know it's an oily deal to get oil, but, someone's got to do it, and no one's doing it. That's where we are tonight. That is why you have to get a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. It's an oily deal? No. In the case of forced stimulus check, you don't feel greasy getting these checks. You're not going to feel greasy getting my checks on this channel because, I don't do deals with Saudi Arabia, unlike other people. That forced stimulus check in every U.S. state is incredible. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Step 2, become a member. Step 3, go in that incredible membership newsletter Monday through Friday. And step 3, save for the second half because we're going to go over all these incredible checks one at a time. It's a big night, and it's just getting started. In the second half, we're going to go more about a major announcement. This is huge. About something with your medical bills. Oh, boy, this is great news. It's coming up in the second half. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, God bless you. I'll see you back in 60 seconds as America's most loved and most watched show for financial news in prime time continues. It's Evenings LALATE, and I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as tonight's recording for June 9th, 2022 continues in just 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement right now on a June 9, 2022 recording from the Santa Monica shores. How are you? A forced stimulus check is in every U.S. state, and the great news is I'm going to get to for you in the second half. This forced stimulus check is for you. If you're single, if you're married, or if you're children, without children, if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, if you rent, if you own, If you make money, if you don't make money, if you're behind on your bills, if you're not behind on your bills, I got it all for you. It's coming up right now. But first, let's understand how we got here, what stimulus checks are, and how they work, and everything that you need to know starting right now. Stimulus checks have taken a lot of different forms in a lot of different ways, and I don't want you to think about how you got one before and how you get this one is slightly different. Let's not compare a $600 check you may have gotten before to a $80,000 check I'm about to get you tonight. If it's an $80,000 check, you don't expect it to come the same way as that $600 check, do you? No, of course not. Back in the month of March, viewers said, LA, can you find us a first stimulus check? Because the Build Back Better Act had not gotten done. They needed that assistance, and they said, can you find us that assistance? And I found it. A series of checks. Checks can come different ways and come from Congress, which hasn't happened yet, or it can come from the White House or states, and that has happened. Executive orders, those magic words the viewers love, and these incredible checks are that. I gave them a lettering system. Check A, check B, and check C, and thereafter. And what's important to understand is the eligibility. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get it. Go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. If you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, veterans benefits, go get it. Rent, own, with children, without children, go get it. Let's go over all those incredible checks, starting with the first one right now. It is check A. It is $6,500 to $12,000. Yes, you're going to see in these checks, I get monster checks because small puny checks don't help anyone. Doesn't create financial independence. Big checks do. Here's your first check, $6,500 to $12,000. It's a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. And it is the homeowner's weatherizing grant check. $75,000 less, single individual, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. How do you get this incredible check? So simple. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Step 2, go into the membership link, go into the video to where it says join here. Click that join button and become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Then go into that incredible membership newsletter Monday through Friday. Go down to check A, and there it is, and you pounce and apply. You're done there, but just with check A, you're now going to go get check B. A $15,000 to $80,000 forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Single individual, $75,000 less, get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, get it. If you're on benefits, go get it, and it is wonderful. How do you get the incredible check B? Similar to check A. You know the routine. Become a member, subscribe, get that membership newsletter, go down to the incredible section where it goes over check B, and pounce and get that application in on check B. Check B will route you to your state, and you choose your state, and you go get it. You're not done there yet. You're going to go get check C. Check C is a monster check. It's a monthly stimulus check where the M stands for monthly, not monster. $2,000 a month on average over 12 months. That's incredible. But many viewers have gotten on average about $45,000. It's the residue of third stimulus. How do you get this incredible check C? First of all, it's for my renters and my homeowners. Rent, utilities, mortgage, assistance, and more. You do it the same way to start. You subscribe, you become a member, you go down the membership newsletter until you see that incredible check C in there. And you learn about where to call, what to say, and how to say it. The check C success on this channel is astronomical. Between that and the other stimulus packages I've gotten viewers over $50 million for these sums of money. Here are some of the success stories, which started with check C's originally called Purple, then became third stimulus, and now it's called check C. $20,000 to $30,000 for rent. Would you like $30,000 for rent? I show you how. Will you want these types of money? Do you want these types of money for utilities? I show you how. Mark's brother-in-law is getting about $15,000 for utilities. SNAP. Mark's brother-in-law is getting $25,000 a year over the next 10 years. That's $250,000. How about combos? Multiple items? Yes. Here's Nisi, $23,000. She keeps on going and getting more money because that's what I teach. If you got $800 today, go get $500 tomorrow. Go get $10,000 next week. Nisi keeps on getting another $8,000 every few days. She's at nearly $50,000. Mark was at $32,000. He keeps on going getting money. And how high has Mark gotten his numbers? Let's look at them. They went from $32,000 to $50,000 to $100,000 to $166,000. Would you like $166,000 of stimulus? Of course you would. That's hard cold cash. Lorraine was at $105,000, then she went to $120,000. Now she's pushing about $130,000. This is why it's so important to get this cash, because guess what? You know, in a week like this, we see a lot of different statements coming out of the White House. We have Gina Raimondo talking about not having, maybe the White House saying maybe you don't have to pay for taxes on certain household goods at the cash register for a few months. Then we talk about Build Back Better Act that has provisions to help with certain items. These items here are cash. This is cash. Cash is king. And one of the overwhelming comments from these CFOs in this new report released tonight is that cash is king in a recession and in an inflationary environment. Why is that? Because cash does not devalue. The value of the cash, let's say from the forced stimulus, you get $5,000. The $5,000 today is still worth $5,000 a month from now or a year from now. It is different than an asset like real estate or an asset like a car that could be devalued in this economy, or anything else that could plummet across the board. Cash is king. That is why it's so important to get a forced stimulus check. Yes, the stock market crashes upon us. So the stocks are going to be valued less. They're currently down, or the market's down 24%. It's going to go down 47%. So your valuation, your investment is going to be less in just a few months if it's stocks. If it's housing, the housing investment will be worth less as well. Housing starts are down 70%, housing sales are down 7% year to date, and the mortgage rates are at the lowest levels of 22 years. And this is before we even get to the recession. This is before you get into a recession. That is why it's so important to remember that cash is king, and you can't wait to get any of these incredible sums of money, because that cash has the ability to help you weather whatever financial environment's coming in the next few months. If the financial downturn of this economy in the next 90 days is not as bad as we're predicting, then good. You have the cash saved up. And then if the recession is not as long as initially thought in 2023, good. You have the cash saved up. Tonight, we have new analyst reports about that recession, and other CFOs, they said the recession may only be the half of next year. Interesting. I never heard of a 6-month recession. While I disagree with them, the situation is very clear that what you see tonight is not what it's going to be in 90 days from now. First report on this channel back in February again, and now also confirmed by the most beloved banker there is, Jamie Dimon, is that there's a storm out to sea. I said the words, that there's a storm out to sea and the storm is about to touch land. Jamie Dimon's words are, there's a hurricane down the road and it's about to land any moment. The severity of the storm or the hurricane, whatever word you use, is also dependent on a lot of factors. But it's coming. And before it comes, I don't want you to be worried about what it's called. I want you to understand that the weight of the arrival will bring the downward spiral of this economy. And that downward spiral is why you have to get every pot of money. Tonight, we learn a little bit more about this storm out to sea, and it comes from the European Central Bank. The European Central Bank is the equivalent of Jay Powell's group, and the European Central Bank says, we got to do more interest rate spikes because they're not working, and even if they throw our economy into recession, where, of course, you heard $125 to fill up a car in England right now, ouch, that will be what's going to happen. What did the Federal Reserve say? What did the CBO say today? And what did the ECB say? Very, very fascinating details across the board. First, we learned that they believe that inflation is going to still be an issue. The ECB downgraded its growth forecast tonight and revised upwardly its inflation projections. It now expects inflation to hit 6.8% by the end of this year, and then decline to 3.5% in 2023 and 2.1% in 2024. Sound familiar? It should. I've been saying that inflation in the United States will drop to 4% from 8% right now. And so they're basically saying it's going to go to 3.5% start of next year. That's exactly what I'm reporting. If you remember the numbers from the CBO and the Department of Labor, I think it was a week ago, they reported exactly my numbers. They said 3.9%. And also one of the major analysts said that it's going to drop in half from where it is right now, which is 8%, half is 4%. So there you go. That is what the ECB said today. Amidst all this, we also have some really big news tonight. It's very exciting. It's really great news. There's a major deal in the works, and actually this is confirmed. I shouldn't say it's a deal. It's actually an agreement. It's going to happen. That start January 1, any medical debts that appear on your credit report will be wiped away. Wow. If you did not know, if you go to a dentist and the dentist says you owe me $10, the insurance company only paid $90 as a remaining $10 balance, and that dentist puts a negative mark on your credit report, then yes, you can have a negative entry on your credit report just because of a $10 dispute from a dentist. Gives you a toothache, doesn't it? So what's the data point tonight? Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion have agreed that effective July 1, all the medical debts that appear on your credit report will be removed, starting with about 70% by July 1 and the rest of them by spring of next year. Wow, this is huge. So let's recap. If you have a small entry or a big entry on that credit report that is a medical debt, it will be wiped away in a progression starting in July 1. And this is absolutely astronomical news. Finally, where is this economy? What do you got to do? How you got to focus? And where do you have to go as a community? And where's this channel going as a community? First, in the next few months, you're going to see, or I should say next few weeks, you're going to see big surprises come to this channel. If you can keep a surprise, then stay tuned. Because there's a big surprise of what's coming to this channel. You're going to love it. Number 2, you got to grab every check that's available and hoard the cash. Hoard the cash. I don't care if you rent, if you own, if you work or you don't work, if you're young or old or married or without benefits, on benefits, get those checks, cash them, and save them. Then go get another check and get another check thereafter. Finally, we had a hysterical joke. Well, actually, it was just a flub, and then became a joke on Afternoons LALATE yesterday. The comment came in response to some people in one Western state, it was Arizona, where they said, there's no stimulus in our state. Now, that's a favorite narrative that has been circulating around for over 3 years, and it's always wrong. And my approach to the situation is, if you want to say something wrong, I'm just, let you do what you want to do. And what did I call that? Hugging a cactus. So my take on the situation tonight is much the same. If you want to hug a cactus, go ahead and hug a cactus. But my focus on this channel is save a cactus, get a stimulus. Save a cactus, get a stimulus. Anyone that just wants to hug the cactus and get prickly through 2023 in the midst of a recession because they said there was nothing there, then hug the cactus. Go ahead. The rest of my viewers will not. The rest of my viewers who understand financial independence and cactus independence. Yeah, you learned something new tonight. Cactus independence. Not only financial independence, but cactus independence comes from this channel. Get the stimulus so you do not have to hug a cactus, and the cactus doesn't have to hug you back. Shows continue throughout the night. We have Evenings LALATE every night at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, America's most watched show for financial news in prime time. Then at 6 o'clock is Countdown. 7 o'clock is Stream Stimulus. 8 o'clock is Extra. 9 o'clock is The Wonderful Sunset. Newsletter coming out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. That's West Coast time. Make sure you are focusing on what time zone you are. That's 10 o'clock Eastern and 9 o'clock Central. Meantime, join me tomorrow morning at Early Mornings LALATE. That starts at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and Mornings LALATE live on air at 9 a.m. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, God bless. Hope you have a beautiful night. Hope you stay warm and safe and inspired and motivated. Don't hug a cactus. Hug another viewer. Jamie Dimon can't help you. I can't help you. The recession, the supply chain of cactuses will be definitely at issue. The housing market, well, don't build a home made out of cactus. Stock market, don't invest in stocks made out of cactus. Just stay away from the cactus. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful night, and stay with LA for more.